Hello, my name is Patrick Seguin, and in this video I will show you 5 ways to use one single light. But first, the intro. In this video I use the continuous light, which is the Godox SL60W. But what I'm showing you today, you will be able to replicate it with a studio flash or even a small DSLR flash, as long as you have the right accessories for it. For those of you who don't have a studio flash, you could buy a bracket similar to this one. You can attach a softbox, an octobox, an umbrella, and you can experiment with different accessories for your lighting. And if you want a cheaper solution, you can just buy a swivel where you can attach an umbrella to it. I really like this one. It's made by Manfrotto and there's a hot shoe, so it's really quick to mount and unmount your flash to it. I'll leave some links in the description below. So the first lighting setup is called the Rembrandt. It's also known as the 45-degree angle. So for the Rembrandt lighting, you want to place your light at a 45-degree angle to the camera and 45-degree inclined as well. Really what you want to try and achieve is get that little triangle around the cheek. One thing to keep in mind when we use that lighting is the angle of your model's face. If she turns her face towards me, then she's in the shadow and we lose that effect. And if she turns her face towards the light, same thing, we lose the effect. It can also be very interesting to play with the angles, but one thing to keep in mind when you're shooting your model. One thing very useful is the reflector. So you could use this to open up the shadows. So if I come more on this side, we will have a less contrasty shot and it will open up the shadow from the side. You can also use a reflector to mimic edge light. So if you place it more around the back, you will have a better separation with your model's hair and your background. I would use the silver side also. Now this one is gold, but just to give you an idea, it will catch more of the light and you will have a better separation. So the second lighting setup is called the butterfly, and the reason for that is because of the shape of the shadow underneath the nose. To achieve this lighting, you just place the light really centered with your model and your angle of the camera. You raise it up high at about 45-degree angle until you achieve that shadow. The butterfly lighting is a nice and easy setup. I find that it's useful when you need to photograph a lot of different people and you're kind of in a rush, so you don't want to play too much with the light. So it's very flattering for many different types of faces. It's also nice because it helps to sculpt the face. So you have a little bit more of a shadow underneath the chin and it makes a separation. So the third lighting setup is called the clamshell lighting. I do it with a silver reflector. You just place it underneath your model's face and you try and find the maximum reflection. So it opens up the shadow underneath her chin and it creates as well a really nice catch light in the eyes. I have a bonus tip for you. When you use the clamshell lighting, you can also play with color. As you can see, when you play with a color gel, it can create some really cool effects. This is with the color gel. This is without the color gel. So the fourth lighting setup is called the side light, and as the name suggests, it's a light that is on the side. As you can see, the light only fills one side of her face and the other side goes into the shadow. Also, what you can do with this light is play with a reflector and just fills up a bit of light on the back to make a better separation with the hair, or to even come across there and catches a bit of light on the side of her cheek. One thing to be aware of with this type of lighting is to be careful for the bag under the eyes. Just keep in mind that this light is not always flattering for everybody. So I did some test shot and then I realized looking at the photos that there was some light coming from the top. This is a really big source, so it hits the ceiling and it comes back. So to get a better effect, I just put a reflector and block some light from the top. Also with this light, instead of having her face pointed directly at the camera, it's also nice to move the face more towards the side, so it creates another effect. So our fifth lighting setup is called a backlight. Right now I have a silver reflector on the front, so it bounces back the light from the back. You could also go with a white reflector, or you could go without a reflector and just go for the silhouette. So very often with this light, we can ask our model to be more on the profile side. This is with the silver reflector. This is without reflector and it's more of a silhouette. And again, this one is without a reflector. I just changed my ISO and let more light coming in. So this way you get more of a dreamy effect. One other tip I wanted to mention is if you don't have a reflector, you could use a piece of foam cord with some tin foil on it. And if you want more reflection, you could use a mirror. When you start playing with color, you will find out that they cut off some light, and that way you'll be able to place it a little further from your subject. When you start playing with light, it can be daunting at first, but the secret here, like anything else in life, is the more you do it, the better you get at it. And if you don't have a studio flash, use the tools at your disposal. Don't let it stop you from being creative and experiment with light. You can easily do all of this with a DSLR flash and an umbrella. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. This was my first tutorial, so I promise they will get better, because just like I said before, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Please consider joining my channel and you will see my evolution. This channel is only 1 month old and it would really help me out if you do. If you have any suggestions of tutorial or questions or comments, please leave it down below and I will get back to you ASAP. Don't forget to check the description for some useful links and some products I suggest for your lighting. Ciao!